Okay, so we're getting ready to start. And as I said, this is a pretty light game, and I hope you're appreciating that. I still have to check rules, but every time we check them, it's a real easy check. It's not very difficult or ambiguous. The AI is a little ambiguous, but they do give you priorities, and then you just have to make good decisions. I think this is a possibility. There was a possibility of having like several right choices when you're doing stuff for the AI. But I think I made the right choice by going after Rome and going after these gold cities. That's what they're supposed to do. And there's only 4 turns in the game, so they can't piss around. So let's go ahead and get going. We're back at the beginning again. It's the growth phase. So this is where we can do the retirement step. So in player order, we can return discs to our supply. Well, this is going to get into a little bit, probably the most math in the game. Everywhere we have 2 discs, we're going to be able to generate a disc. So you can see up here, we have 2 in Greece right there. We have 2 in Umbria, and we have 2 over there in Aquitania. So I know that during the growth phase, I'm going to get 3 of these are going to go into my ready box. And then I have 3 more I could possibly get. And it says I get 1 disc for every settlement. That's what this is. 1 disc for every 2 shallow seas I occupy. There are no seas in this game. And then discs from wonders and civilization abilities, which we don't have to. And then we get 1 disc for each opposing civilization we are adjacent to. So that would be the Gauls. So I would get 1 more. So there's 2 discs here that I'm not even going to be able to pull out of the cup. So for the retirement step, the retirement step is simply saying, okay, I'm going to remove this disc from here and put it in my cup because I want to, be able to take it out of my cup to use towards battle. I'm not going to be able to do that, so I'm just going to, because look, I have discs left over, so I'm going to leave those there, and we're just going to take these 4. And that's done. So now we go to the Eastern Empire. It's going to be a similar story. They have, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 settlements, and then there's another one up there for 5. So the Eastern Empire is a little stronger. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they actually took everything that was in their discard. So the Western Empire is not doing as well. That's a little thematic, actually. Okay, so they took all 5. The Gauls have 1. So they get 1, but actually there's a special rule. If you remember, because they're the invaders, they get 10 every time, I think. Let me check real quick. So they got 12 on the first turn. And at any turn after this where they have 0 discs on the map, they would get 12. But now they're going to get they're guaranteed a minimum of 10. And just so you know, we are guaranteed a minimum of 3. So if we weren't able to, we didn't have any settlements left on the map, you're always allowed to at least get 3. They're going to get 10. So we don't even need to count for them. They're just getting 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, they are a pain in the butt. And Rome is very likely going to fall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So I can already tell you that there's strategy in this game. This is a scenario where they get these ridiculous number and you don't. And if you don't like it, don't play the scenario. I mean, that's where the sandbox mode is great, because in the sandbox mode, every AI is treated to the same rules you are. So they're going to only be able to get 3 minimum each round, just like you're only able to get 3 minimum each round. So I may have made a poor choice. It may have been better just to play a sandbox scenario, because how many you get each round is dictated by how many cities you have, or settlements you have, and we can control that through our growth. And when the NPCs go, they get to choose how much they're going to grow as well, how many settlements versus how many cities. So this you know, being an invasion type of scenario, they're getting these rule-breaking numbers here, but they start with nothing on the map. So, you know, there's this weirdness. Another thing that's weird is even though we control all this territory, it doesn't benefit us. Having a single token in each space doesn't do squat for us. If you may have noticed, it provides no net benefit. So when you're playing this game against other players or the sandbox mode, I would highly recommend not doing this and spreading out. You're going to want at least 2 or 3 in every spot that you go to, because otherwise it's not that interesting. Also, in a regular game, you're going into the C zones, and they count too. They give you stuff. So in this particular game, it doesn't count at all. So a lot of interesting weirdness with this scenario, but I'm going to shush it and we'll keep going here. So we just did acquisition, then we do resettlement. We may transfer 1 disk from any number of our cities to the ready box. Nobody's doing that. Now we get to deploy into an area we control or a contested area, adjacent to an area we control, etc. Okay, so now that we're deploying, I for sure am taking back Rome. So I'm putting 3 back in Rome to get to my maximum of 4 that I can put there. And then I'm going to put 1 more. I'm actually going to put 1 more here to get some contested area going again with them. So we're going to do that, and Rome is done. So now we go to the Western Empire, or Eastern Empire, I mean. And here, I don't want to lose my gold cities. I already lost my gold in that 1 city, so it's not worth taking back. But I am going to go to the 4 to defend against there. And when you look at their expansion, obviously Troy is 1, 2, 3 away. Technically, they got to go over the water first, which they are allowed to do for purposes of expanding. And then down here in Egypt looks like the bigger threat. So I just don't think they're going to make it to Egypt. So I still have 1, 2, 3, 4 more. And I think what I want to do is I just want to kick them out of other stuff. So I'm actually going to put a second one there. And a third one. And then let's kick them out of Hamath, which is arguably their home territory. We'll go ahead and do that. I guess I could even try to take out their city. I didn't even think about that. Their city really doesn't give them a bonus. They get a half victory point, but it doesn't do them any good until they get at least 1 more city. So So yeah, this is actually a situation where during the resettlement step, I think it makes sense for them to take 1 and put it back in their pool. So their ready box is going to have 11 because the city doesn't do anything for them, at least not there. Okay, so now we go to the Gauls, and they're going to be deploying, and you know darn well what they're going to do. So here's 3 more in Rome. So they're at their maximum of 4. And then they're going to, they still want to get the gold, right? So they want to move towards other gold cities. So then it becomes, you know, arguably speaking, they want to form cities that are next to their home territory. And with that in mind, I'm putting the city back for the Persians. I don't think they would destroy a city that's next to their home territory. So coming back over to the Gauls. Now this is the part that's weird. If you read the AI, they definitely want to make cities. So I think they already know the placement of our stuff. So they know that if they do this, they're going to get a city in Gaul. And they can put, like, for example, 3 more here to make a city there. But there's a part of me that thinks that they want to go after gold, right? So another strategy is, I think the NPC would do something like this and just like march along, and instead of putting these three there, they're heading right for the Gold City. And you can see they made it all the way down. They go all the way down the coast, and now they got 2 in this Gold City. Why would they not do that? I mean, that's the goal of the NPC with this. So you could say, hey, Jeff, look at your charts. I think the problem with looking at these charts is that they're really optimized for sandbox play. They're not optimized for this scenario. I think for this scenario, you got to basically, they're going after sacking gold cities. And so it really greatly simplifies their a one-track mind. So now we go here for the same deal. They're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 there. They do try to defend their home territory, however. So there's going to be 3 that's going to try to keep their home territory. And then I also think they're going to just keep going, and then they're going to put 2 in that gold city. So that's my thoughts for how the AI is going to do this. And like I said, there's other scenarios. This is, of course, the Roman one. And the sandbox one completely changes things, you know, because everybody's starting in one spot. I don't know. I know I keep bringing it up, but it's just if you're watching this and you're thinking, man, this game is super simplified, it's largely because of this scenario. But I don't want to defend it either. I mean, it's a very light game, and you can play it quick. We're already on turn 2, and if I would stop talking, we'd probably already be done with the game. So let's go on. Okay, so we're done with that. Now we're at the card phase. So let's look at our cards, starting with us. So we have this lawgiver guy. Lets us put a disc in each of up to 3 different land areas that we occupy. Occupy does not mean control. And then draw 2 cards, keep 1, and discard the other. So let's look at our stuff. So we got, if the competition's in a land area, replace an opposing disc there with one of yours. Ooh, very cool. The Hippodrome, each civilization draws a card and reveals it. After resolving and replacing any revealed events, the revealed card with the highest ID number is added to that civilization's hand. The rest are discarded. Then place 2 discs into a land area, and it gets shuffled back in. So this does not go into the discard. And then we have Navigator. Place 1 disc into each deep sea area, then place a total of 2 discs into 1 or more shallow sea. All right, so this doesn't help us. So we're going to put this as a possible defend card, right? Actually, what we're going to do is, I really like this one, but I'm going to hold on to that and hold on to this. I'm going to play Lawgiver. So we're going to place 1 disc in up to 3 land areas. I have 2 discs to place. It does say that in the rules that if I'm out of discs to place, I can, I may have to look that up, but I think I can take from, just like in Hitler's Reich, I think I can take one from one space and to put it into another if I have none left. Areas that I occupy. Then draw 2 cards, keep 1, discard the other. I wanted to play this for the card draw. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to play this card, and we only have 2 discs to place. I'm going to just place the 2 discs that I have. And our stacking limit, let me check, I think still applies even in the card phase. Yes, it's still 4 discs in a land area, so I can't like put more in Rome, but I can put, for example, a 4th disc here, and I can try to like contest them in some other area. So, for example, I'm going to put another disc there, for example, just to try to harass them and keep them away from Rome. And that's going to force them to spend discs just to get back to Rome. Okay, so the bigger thing about that card is I get to draw 2 and then discard 1, right? And so I now have 2 more cards in my hand, And what I'm going to do is I'm discarding this one, which doesn't do me any good. So that was the idea. I guess I should look at them first. Place 2 barbarian discs into an island area, except Minos if the Minoan civilization is active. Then place 2 more into an adjacent shallow area. So it's not that much better. And we have all the island areas, so this is probably not any better than the other one. And here we can place 2 discs onto the map, or remove 2 of your discs from the map and gain 2 talents. Ooh, that might actually be interesting. So, but we played our card, so we're done for now. So now we move to the Eastern Empire, and here we go. This was supposed to be done immediately, so my apologies. Let me check to see if there's any on the other guys. It's a problem with playing solitaire. The player with the fewest VPs selects a land area on the southern edge of the map. Place 4 barbarian discs there and 4 into every adjacent land area. Fewest cities if tied. If still tied, okay, the player with the fewest VPs is Gaul. So they have 0. So they're going to take 4 barbarian discs. And they're going to put it on the southern edge of the map. Well, of course they are, and they're going to put it right here next to the gold city. So Thapsis is going to get it. And then it says 4 barbarian discs and 4 into every adjacent land area. Whew. Okay, so four are going to go here, and 4 are going to go here. So that might... sorry, I just dropped stuff on the floor. I always hate it when that happens. Okay, so since the barbarians are now attacking Carthage, this extra purple I was putting up north, I'm actually putting there for that reason. So yeah, that event card stunk, and you don't get to draw another card. That's what makes it even worse. So, what do we got here? This is a discardable card. Select another area. Select an area other than active civilization's home area. Remove all discs from that area. Then remove 1 disc from each adjacent area. This may include a home area. Set aside when played and then shuffle back into the draw at the end of epic. This is only a 1 epic game. Remove 1 disc from each of 3 contiguous land areas. So we got a lot of nasty stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Massive Volcano on the Persians. So let's see if there's any way for the Persians to negate it. The Gauls have the way to negate stuff, but they're not going to help the Persians unless they are impacted, and they're not. So they're probably not going to do that. But let's see, let's look. Play in response to a card that places or removes 1 or more discs. Negate that card and discard it. Yeah, that's not happening. Just a reminder, the AI never negates placing discs. They only negate removal of their own discs. So they do have 1 negate that would remove 2 or more discs from the map. This card removes 2 fewer discs. Okay, so here's what's interesting. This is definitely going to remove 2 or more discs from the map. And all it's doing is making it so it removes 2 fewer. So here we go. We're removing all discs from the area, then remove 1 disc from each adjacent area, okay? So this is saying it removes 2 fewer. So let's resolve that. The area that they were going to choose was here. And then it was going to remove 1 disc from everywhere around. So for example, this is going to be 3, and then it was going to remove 1 disc from here for 4, 1 disc from here for 5, and then 1 disc from here for 6. So now it's going to be 2 fewer. So he's going to just choose not to remove these ones, and then this one will be gone. I still get to choose which discs. I just had to do 2 fewer, so I just chose not to remove my own disc. So that sort of helped me, but it did help the AI as well, because it did prevent that one. It was just, that was a devastating card. So no worries there. It's a confusing card when you have an AI, but it was still semi-helpful to them. Okay, so now we're moving on to Gaul. All right, we got 2 negate cards and a C card. Gaul passes. There's nothing for them to play, but we got to make sure, play in response to the card that, okay, this is if they remove discs, play in response to any card that would give a civilization talents or allow it to place 2 or more discs. Negate that card. So I'm going to play this in response to the card that we played earlier. So I know it says that the AI, well, hold on a second. The AI never does that. Yeah, the AI never does that, folks. So what's going to happen is this card's going to be just like a talent. It's going to prevent damage. That's how they're going to use it. So they wouldn't have interfered with us. They would just use it to cancel a hit. So, okay, moving on. And I'm sorry I'm getting wishy-washy, but those are the kind of decisions you have to make. All right, Gaul passes. Now we go to Persia. Remember, they value talents over anything, so they're going to play this one first. Gain 2 talents, then every civilization that occupies an area bordering the northern edge also gets 1. So they get 2. And then the northern edge is benefiting everybody else in the game. So Gaul gets 1, and so does the western and eastern, because we all have northern edge stuff. All right, so now it goes back to us. So we got this Pirate Haven card, which I think is going to just be a defensive card. Here we can put 2 discs on the map, or we can remove 2 discs to gain 2 talents. Yeah, I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to remove 2 discs, and the discs I'm going to remove is I'm going to just let the barbarians have that. There's no point in doing that. And so those go into my cup, and then I get 2 talents for that. That was well worth doing, folks. That was a lost cause down there. So that card's played. So now we move to Eastern Empire. Remove 1 disc from each of 3 contiguous land areas. And they're going to definitely do that. And I don't think anybody can negate that. Remember, the AI only helps the other AI if it impacts themselves. Let me read it one more time, but I'm pretty sure that's the scenario rule here. So remember, it's as if the Persians, but just reverse it, because the rules say to do that. So if the Visigoths have a card that can negate a Persian, an Eastern Empire card, and there are no Western Empire cards that can negate it, it will negate that card, but only if the card would require the Persians to lose 1 or more cards. Oh, actually, they would help each other. So what it's saying is that they would help, but only if... 2 more talents are allowed to place 2 or more discs. Nope, not that one. This one. It places or removes 1 or more discs, negate that card and discard it. Then place 1 disc into an area. Okay, so arguably speaking, this one could have been used against the volcano, but we'll use it against this one. So they're negating the card where I'm going to get to remove 3 discs. And they're going to just place 1 disc in an area that they occupy. So my apologies. You could argue that that could have been done the other way around, but I think you need to let the Persians defend themselves first, and then the Gauls are only going to help them if and only if the Persians have nothing to defend themselves with. So I'm going to run with that. And now they get to place 1 in an area they occupy. And this is a perfect example of here. So they just got tougher down there. So we move to the Goths. I'm going to call them Gaul. They don't have anything. They pass. These guys are playing bumper crop. They're going to get another talent. Then place 1 disc in each of up to 3 land areas you occupy. And that is huge for them. So they're going to for sure go into the gold area. They're maxed out there, but they will go ahead and defend themselves here and here. So they just placed 3 more, and now we keep going. So we're now here, and I have the Hippodrome. So each civilization is going to draw a card and reveal it. After resolving and replacing any revealed events, the revealed card with the highest number is added to that civilization's hand. Then I get to place 2 discs. I actually have 2 because the last card removed 2. So I am going to play this now, and this is a little risky, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So Western Europe, or Western Rome, Eastern Rome, the Goths, and the Persians. And I'm going to flip it around so it's backwards order. So Western Rome is 30, Eastern Rome, the Goths get their card. So that backfired on me. And I do get to place these 2 on, though. So Carthage is at full, Gades is at full, so these have to go somewhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and... Yeah, I think I still want to harass them and get them away from Rome. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so then Eastern Empire passes. Now we get to the Visigoths. Once you pass, you can't get back in. So this card actually stays with him. And this is place 1 disc into each of 4 different areas. Then gain. That's actually a really nice one for him, but he has to hold on to it because he passed. And everybody's passing. So we're now done. So we move into the competition phase. So let's go through now and resolve the special abilities. So for example, the Visigoths get 1 talent. Then here we can place a Gallic disc into a contested land area. Now, here's what's important. We're no longer in the card phase or the growth phase. Okay? Why is that important? The stacking limits changed. During the competition phase, there is no stacking limit. So, except for the deep sea area. So right here, we can place a Gallic disc into a contested land occupied by 2 or more Gallic discs. So just 1. Then we can place a white disc into a different one. So what we're going to do is a green one and a white one are coming out. And you already know how this is going to play out. The green one is going to go here in Rome, and the white one's going to go down here in Spain. Okay? All right, so we did Gaul. Let's do this one. Once per turn at the beginning of a competition, place a white disc in 2 contested land areas. And you know we're going to do those in both of the gold areas. So that's done. And then during the first time they earn loot, they gain 2 talents instead of 1. And they did earn loot last time, so I'm going to give them another talent because we forgot to do that. So when we gave them loot because they conquered a city, I only gave them 1, but they have a special ability that lets them take 2. So I just gave them 1 extra. So they're going to be quite strong this turn. And then getting to us, we both have the same ability here. So at the beginning of our deployment step, oh, I forgot about this. We get to choose and draw a card or transfer 2 discs from supply to the ready box. And if there's no city present, we can place 1 disc into Rome or into a land area. Okay, I'm choosing to draw a card with both of them. My apologies. I really screwed that up. So I technically had more cards to play. This one I'm keeping because I don't have any discs to place. This one, remove 1 disc from each of 2 contiguous areas. I would have played it, and the Goths or whatnot couldn't have stopped me. So this is a situation where I would remove them from here and from there because it has to be contiguous. So that would have, let me think about this. I was thinking of maybe going down to Spain and doing it, but no, I'll do it there. So I removed 2 of their discs. My apologies. That was my fault for not paying attention to their special abilities. And so let's keep going. Now, at the beginning of the competition, we get to place a white disc into Rome or into an area next to Rome. And then we may place a white disc in each of up to 2 other land areas that were occupied by a Roman. And you can even place it in an uncontested area that makes it become contested. So I'm going to show you how that works right now. So I'm grabbing 3 discs. One of them, of course, goes into Rome. And then one I'm going to put in Gades over here. But what it's saying is that I could also, instead of going there, I could have put it here, for example, because this is not a contested area, but by putting this here, I can then make it become contested. And I'm only allowed to put it here if it causes that situation to occur. So I could cause a battle to occur here. However, I need this mercenary for over here, so I'm actually guarding all 3 of my gold areas with that. And so then with Troy, we have the same situation. The only problem is Troy doesn't need a mercenary at the moment, and neither does any adjacent area, but I am going to get 2, which I can at least place here and there to help defend the gold areas, and I will. Okay, so now that we resolved all the special ability stuff that happens, let's go ahead and get to the actual competition. So in turn order, we can play competition cards. And let's resolve who goes first. It's always the home area first, so this Hamath is going to be resolved first. And remember, they're only using their talents and whatnot for sacking cities and gold areas, so they're not going to play any talents. And we're not going to play any cards, so this is going to be resolved pretty quickly. So red is losing 2. That's us. We lose 2, but they also lose 2. And that's resolved. Okay, so next we're going to move on to the gold cities. I'm just going to resolve this whole side first. I don't think that there's any issue with just focusing the camera in one direction. So we're just going to go along. Here you can see that they have 2 that are going to be removed, and we have 2 that are going to be removed. I mean, it's a very procedural thing, but you can see that the procedural is so easy. You can actually just quickly remove discs. It's not something you have to be really involved. Now here's where it's going to get more involved. So here I have no cards to play. Neither do they. So it's as simple as this, and so they're going to let their mercenaries die, so both of them are going to do that. But from here on out, it's going to be an attrition thing. So, for example, I'm going to play a card to negate my damage, and they're going to play a talent to negate theirs. Okay, and then I have 2 talents that I can play, and they're going to play 2 talents to match my 2 talents, so there's 4 more. But here's the problem. I'm going to start losing now. So I'm going to lose 1, 2, 3 units, and they're losing 3 talents. And I lose 3. And then they're going to lose 1, and I lose 1. And they just took the area. So by taking the area, they're going to get a victory point. So I'm moving them up to 6 victory points. And they're going to get 2 loot. 1 from taking the city, and then 2 because of their special ability, or 1 more because of their special ability. So then the scenario thing happens where they took 1 of the gold for the scenario, And let me check it one more time. Oh, I know it's written here somewhere. Oh, it's actually written here. They're sacking a gold disc. So they're getting 4 victory points and another talent. So they get another talent and 4 more victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're up to 10. Okay. I can already tell you really quickly that this is a game where if you don't have the right cards, you're screwed. Because I needed cards to give me talents, or I needed cards to just prevent damage. Obviously, my Volcano card was awesome, and it helped. But yeah, I mean, I'm getting steamrolled right now, and there's nothing I can do. I think, you know, the time I played Hitler's Reich, it was similar. And so you could see a lot of similarities in the game design. But again, this is a light game, and like I said, tokens are coming on and coming off in rapid fashion. So they were not only able to take this, but they destroyed a gold, and they have a city to boot. So our source of victory points is being greatly diminished. But now we go to the Nile Delta, and this is a different story. I don't have cards, they don't have cards, so here's the first one. Gone. And then there's 2 for them and 2 for us, and then the battling stops. So they reduced us, but they weren't able to take it. All right, so they did a lot of damage to us over there. So now we come over to here, and there's a couple of things. We got the barbarians. I do have a card, and so do they. But their competition card, is for sea areas only. So I'm going to just put this down as a cancel card. Then for me, if it's in a land area, I can replace an opposing disc with one of mine. So I'm going to resolve the barbarians first. So I lose 1, they lose 1, like that. And then I'm going to lose 3 more, and they're going to lose 3 more. And that's how that plays out. So the barbarians definitely reduced my strength in that area. So now we're going to go to Rome. And Rome, I'm going to play my card. So it's in a land area. I'm going to replace an opposing disc with one of mine. And so I benefited from the barbarians going first, so I can put one of mine on and remove one of the green ones. And so this is going to be really simple. Green's going to lose 3, and we're going to lose 1, and then 2, 3 ourselves. So we held Rome. Okay, now we go here, and then this is, actually, I take that back. They would have fought for Rome and played 2 talents. And so we would have also played 2 talents to prevent us from losing stuff. So you have to do that. It's an attrition thing. And yes, they would have played the talents. And I know you're thinking, well, hold on a second. There's a rule that says if they can't win, they're not going to do it. Remember, each individual battle goes to completion before you start over. So by playing the talent, they're preventing themselves from losing. And so they are staying in the battle by playing that talent. It's just that I have more talents than them, and I eventually win and outlast them. That's the only reason that this happened. But they would have at least tried to hold out as long as they can. And then we move over to here, resolve this one, and we're both going to lose the mercenary. And I do have 1 talent left, so I'm going to use it while they lose 1. And then they're going to lose 2, and I lose 2, like so. So that ends the competition phase. So we get to the end here, and now we're in the reckoning. So the reckoning, as you know, is going to go a lot quicker. There's no sea domination. We do victory tally. Every civilization is going to get a victory point for each of its cities, and 1 for wonders. And we have to also correlate that or reconcile that with this. Any new cities is only going to be a half victory point instead of 1, and that is listed there. The Rome and Constantinople, during every victory tally step, either Empire faction scores 1 if it has a disc in Rome or Troy. If so, it also gains 1 for each Roman gold still present there. Just Rome and Troy, nowhere else. And this is only if they have a city there. Oh, hold on, you score 1 if you have... So if there was a city in Rome, that empire would score 4 points. 1 for the city, 1 for having at least 1 Roman disc in Rome, and then 1 for the Roman gold. Okay, so yeah, we would get at least 1 for having a disc there, and then 1 more for the city, and then 1 for the gold. Got it. We're good. So every gold that's still present there. Okay, so I have one correction I need to make then. This one should score 2 more points because I had 2 more gold that was present there. I don't think I scored... Oh my gosh, I think I screwed up the scoring because I scored 1 for each gold, I think. No, I scored 1 for each city. Never mind. The cities that have the gold are a full victory point if you have a city there, which is why I scored the 2 points here and there. Got it. And otherwise they're worth a half. So I did that correctly. I scored 2 last time, but then I forgot to score the 2 for Rome because I actually still get a victory point for having at least 1 token in Rome. And in fact, I got 1 more because I had 1 token in Rome. And then I got, anyways, I should have 1 more for Troy because I had at least 1 token in Troy. Okay, I'm good now. This is just the first turn. When it ended, this is how many points we had. Okay, so now let's get back to this. So it'll make sense. The reason I had 6 points was because I had a city in Troy, a token in Troy, and a gold in Troy. That's 3 points. And then I had a city there for 4, a city here for 5, and a city there for 6. That's the reason why I had 6. This time around, I'm going to get 1 for the city in Troy, 1 for just having a token in Troy, and then 1 for the gold in Troy. And then I'm going to get 1 more for the Mycenae, and that's it. I don't have a city anywhere else now. So I'm done. Here, I'm going to get 1 for having a token in Rome, 1 for the city in Rome, 2 for the gold in Rome, and then I don't have a city anywhere else. So that's it for me. And now we get to the enemy. The enemy, of course, scored a bunch of victory points for sacking the gold, but he does have 1 city, but he only gets a half point for that, so that doesn't move up. It's always rounded down. And the Goths have 1 city there, as you can see, but it's also rounded down. So that's not helping them, and we move on to turn 3. Right now, we're dominating them. Yes, they have 10 points here, but we get to add out both of our scores. So we technically have 19, and the Goths are still sitting at 0. So I'm not saying that we're still going to dominate, but we still got 2 more turns, but that's where this is at for the scenario. Now, mind you, there was the Huns that you could have also added to this scenario. There was an addition of barbarians we could have done. There's a lot of optional rules if you think this game's too easy. I mean, I was just complaining that I didn't have cards to help. I mean, heck, if I didn't have cards to defend that, or if I would have been dominating this. So at least by them winning what they're winning, they have the points they have. Okay, so we're getting near the end here, and now we're at the draw step, where we get to draw 3 cards, plus 1 for every 4 cities on the map, and then plus 1 for every talent that you spend. They do have 3 talents, but they're not spending them on cards. So here we go. 3 for me. Well, hold on. We do turn order. Yeah, we do turn order first. So turn order is who has the most cities. He's moving up. He still has 2 cities. So he would move up by 2. He would move up by 1. He has the lower victory points, so it would still be that. And then blue has 1 city. Green has 1. So yeah, the turn order stays exactly the same. All right, so here we go. No events. No events. These are awesome cards. They just feel so good. No events. And no events. Okay, so now that we're done drawing our cards, we move to the growth phase. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and we'll just do the next turn. There's only 2 more turns left, and then this whole playthrough is done. So if you took away all of my rambling and talking, this is a very quick game, folks. And so, like I said, tons of scenarios, so many things to do, but I'm going to shut up and make most of that talk at the end. I can see why some games people won't like this game, but there's plenty of reasons to like it. And if you accept it for what it is, which is a lighter game, this isn't bad at all. I'm having a good time. It's very easy to follow. And I think with the AI, you do have to make some decisions for them, but it's not bad. I mean, if you wanted to play all sides, this game is very conducive to that. In fact, I sort of am playing all sides with some AI prioritization that the game provided for me. Yeah, it's not bad at all. I even think I could probably handle 6 or 5 AI with a 6-player game. Anyways, thanks for watching. Stay awesome. I'll see you in 2 seconds.